After those painful school years finally passed, Xiao Kuei entered college, hoping to start over and leave the scars of the past behind. There, she met a senior from the astronomy club, Ji Ping. From the very first meeting, their hearts seemed to connect. They spent nights watching the stars together, whispering wishes under shooting stars, and sharing endless late-night talks. For Xiao Kuei, those were the most beautiful moments of her life. After graduation, the two of them got married. Everything seemed absolutely perfect. A loving husband, a peaceful life, and the kind of happiness she had always dreamed of. But only a short while after the wedding, things began to change. Ji Ping started coming home late, using overtime as an excuse. Sometimes he didn't come home at all. A dark suspicion began to grow inside Xiao Kuei's heart. One day, she called her husband's office phone. But on the other end, she heard strange voices, awkward laughter, and confusing English words that made no sense. Everything sounded off, deeply suspicious. Her gut told her, something is definitely wrong. So, she decided to find out the truth. She secretly hired a private detective, and when she finally read the investigation report, her world collapsed beneath her feet. Ji Ping was cheating on her, and the most shocking part, his affair was with Huali, the same girl who had tormented Xiao Kuei for years in school. But Xiao Kuei didn't break. Instead, she gathered all her strength and went straight to Huali's office to confront her. In a calm, steady voice, she said, "Just stay away from Ji Ping. I won't say anything. I don't want to make a scene." But Huali had become even more arrogant and cruel than before. She grabbed Xiao Kuei by the wrist and dragged her toward the front desk. "If Ji Ping chose me," she said with a smirk, "then that's your fault, not mine." Then she leaned in closer, whispering vicious words meant to stab straight through Xiao Kuei's heart, and walked away without looking back. Xiao Kuei instinctively tried to stop her, but Huali deliberately knocked a vase to the floor, then fell down screaming, "Help! Help! She's trying to attack me!" Security guards rushed over. Without asking a single question, they grabbed Xiao Kuei and forced her outside. As she was being dragged out, Huali blew her a mocking flying kiss, turning the entire scene into a twisted performance. That was the moment something inside Xiao Kuei finally snapped. She broke free from the guards and ran toward Huali, but before she could reach her, a man grabbed her tightly and stopped her. In that instant, Xiao Kuei saw Huali's snake-like smile, and the scream that tore out of her chest shook the entire hall. But the cruelest blow of all was seeing Ji Ping standing there, watching everything, and choosing to side with Huali. At that moment, the place where everything had begun became the place where Xiao Kuei's world ended. She quietly walked away and filed for divorce. Soon, rumors about her spread throughout Ji Ping's company, and she was forced to resign. She deleted all of Ji Ping's contacts, packed her bags, and returned to her hometown. Months passed, half a year slipped away. She lived a hollow, broken life filled with silence and loneliness. One day, when she returned home from grocery shopping, she noticed a wedding invitation envelope lying in her mailbox. She picked it up. Inside was a photo of Huali and Ji Ping's wedding. In that single moment, years of pain and rage erupted. She tore the photo into pieces, ripped it until nothing was left but shreds, and then, her eyes fell on a plastic surgery poster pinned to the wall nearby. At that moment, a dark plan for revenge was born in her mind. The scene shifts. Xiao Kuei is lying on the cold operation table. She had bet everything she had, her savings, her divorce compensation, every single penny, on this one surgery. When the white cloth was finally lifted from her face, a new woman emerged, a new life, a new identity. The old Xiao Kuei was dead. In her place stood Xiao Jin, a woman reborn for revenge. She swore she would change everything about herself. She had always been naturally left-handed, but she forced herself to become right-handed. She retrained her handwriting, stroke by stroke, until it was unrecognizable. She practiced walking differently, changed her posture. Every tiny detail of who she was before had to disappear. The transformation was complete. When she finally returned to the same city where Huali and Ji Ping now lived as a married couple, she quietly rented an apartment right next to theirs. Every night, she stood on her balcony, watching them from afar like a ghost haunting their happiness. Her eyes followed every move they made. One day, she noticed that Ji Ping often visited a particular flower shop, so Xiao Jin applied for a job there. With her new beauty and charm, she was hired instantly. That's where her comeback truly began. The first time Ji Ping walked into the shop, it was their first face-to-face encounter after the surgery. Xiao Jin stood right in front of him, but he didn't recognize her at all. With a calm, polite smile, she wrapped his bouquet, then gently tucked a small green clover between the flowers. "This one's for good luck," she said warmly. Ji Ping smiled and took it without thinking, but what he didn't know was that the clover carried another meaning: revenge reborn. That evening, when Huali saw the bouquet at home, she squealed with excitement, threw her arms around Ji Ping, and the two of them looked like the perfect couple. From her balcony, Xiao Jin watched them through binoculars. It was the same scene from 3 years ago, the same way she had once hugged Ji Ping. Something inside her cracked, but her face remained blank. No sadness, no tears, only a cold, burning hatred. Inside her room, the walls were covered with photos, old pictures of Ji Ping and Huali together, each one a scar that reminded her of what she had lost. And right in the middle stood a telescope, the one she used to track their every move. In her mind, one thought echoed endlessly: "You both stole my life, now I'll take your piece." That 3-leaf clover would be her first signal, the mark of a revenge game Huali didn't even even know had already begun. One evening, Xiao Jin stood before her dressing mirror, holding the wedding photo of Huali and Ji Ping. She looked at her reflection, at the stranger she had become. For a moment, the lights flickered, and in the mirror, she saw her old face, the fragile Xiao Kuei staring back at her. She whispered softly, "I'm not that good." The camera slowly zoomed out. A cold, sharp smile spread across her new face, and in the background, dark music swelled, the theme of revenge. One day, Ji Ping was having dinner with his office colleagues. Xiao Jin had everything meticulously planned, a perfectly staged encounter. She approached their table carrying a tray and smiled warmly. "My friend cancelled last minute, and I ended up with too much food. You all look familiar, so I thought I'd share." The colleagues were stunned. Such a beautiful woman standing right in front of them. "Please, join us at our table," they urged. For Ji Ping, saying no was impossible. He offered a polite, formal smile, and that was how their first face-to-face encounter after all those years unfolded. During dinner, Xiao Jin's emotions were a storm within, though her exterior remained calm. After the meal, they walked in the same direction. Xiao Jin seized the opportunity to start a conversation. Astronomy, Ji Ping's favorite topic. As soon as she mentioned stars, galaxies, and nebulae, Ji Ping suddenly lit up. The sparkle that had once captivated her eyes returned to his. Their conversation deepened, and slowly, the distance between them began to shrink. But Ji Ping had no idea. He was falling back into his ex-wife's trap. Xiao Jin casually suggested, "Let's grab a drink, it'll help us relax." Ji Ping hesitated at first. He feared Huali might find out and punish him, but thinking, what's the harm in one drink, he agreed, and they headed to a high-end bar owned by Tonggu, a sharp, mysterious man. They were enjoying themselves when a seductive silhouette appeared at the entrance. Huali herself. Xiao Jin froze. She feared everything she had planned had been ruined. Terrified, she rushed to the restroom, and the entire scene was witnessed by Tonggu. Standing before the mirror, Xiao Jin caught sight of her own reflection. For a fleeting moment, she saw her old self, Xiao Kuei, fragile and broken. The weak Xiao Kuei whispered, "The ugly, defeated woman is dead. Only the beautiful Xiao Jin remains alive." Hearing this, all fear vanished from her mind, and a new, even more dangerous plan began to form. Leaving the restroom, Xiao Jin approached Huali with a soft, innocent smile. She showered Huali with compliments, flattering her ego to perfection. Impressed, Huali added her to Green Bubble lineup and said as she left, "Someday we should go out for lunch together." The moment Huali was gone, Xiao Jin's smile disappeared, replaced by a cold, calculating expression. Just then, Tonggu appeared in front of her, blocking her way. "I know there's some history between you and Huali," he said. Xiao Jin pretended to be oblivious, but Tonggu's eyes told the truth. He had seen everything. There was a mysterious calm in his gaze, as if he could peer straight into people's minds. The next afternoon, Huali and Xiao Jin met for afternoon tea at a cafe. Huali proudly flaunted her million-follower social media account, boasting about her fame. Xiao Jin smiled and praised her lightly. "Wow, you're amazing. I feel so inspired." Then, casually, she asked, "So, how did you and Ji Ping meet?" Without shame, Huali twisted the story, turning her affair into a tale of true love redemption, while calling Ji Ping's ex-wife, Xiao Kuei, boring, useless, and worthless. Xiao Jin's anger boiled inside, yet not a single emotion surfaced outwardly. After lunch, the two went to a men's store where Huali picked a bright necktie for Ji Ping. She asked Xiao Jin for her opinion. Xiao Jin, knowing Ji Ping's taste well, chose a simple, elegant tie. And guess what? Ji Ping loved the very tie Xiao Jin had selected. Huali's face changed in an instant, jealousy and insecurity surfacing all at once. To Xiao Jin, it was all part of the plan. Inside, she smiled quietly. Discovering the tie was for an anniversary gift, she immediately offered, "I'll help arrange a surprise for Huali." Ji Ping happily agreed and exchanged contacts. On the anniversary day, Xiao Jin moved to the next phase of her plan. Using voice changer software, she sent a fake complaint to Ji Ping's company, ensuring he was stuck at the office until late. The result, Ji Ping returned home exhausted and empty-handed. Huali exploded upon seeing him. "You're so late. Where's the gift?" Ji Ping tried to explain, but Huali screamed at him for 3 non-stop hours, berating and insulting him. Xiao Jin watched everything from across the window, her face dark, her smile satisfied. The next day, Ji Ping was confused. He asked Xiao Jin, why wasn't the gift delivered? Innocently, she replied, "There was a network issue, the order failed." He apologized, and inside, Xiao Jin laughed silently. "Ha ha ha, plan successful." That day, bar owner Tonggu secretly took a photo of Xiao Jin and Ji Ping, and that night sent Xiao Jin a blackmail message. "Meet me tonight, or I'll make the photo public." Frightened, Xiao Jin ran a background check. Tonggu wasn't a criminal, just observant and straightforward. Someone Huali didn't like. When they met at the bar, Tonggu said, "I know about your feud with Huali. I hate her too. Why don't we team up and break her?" Tonggu was telling the truth. He was irritated by Huali's frequent bar visits and flirtatious behavior. Xiao Jin didn't immediately agree. She suspected it might be another trap. Meanwhile, Ji Ping tried to make amends, gifting Huali an expensive designer bag. Huali responded coldly, "I'm not materialistic. I need time, I need love." The next day, Xiao Jin saw Ji Ping looking slightly down at the park. She seized the opportunity and invited him to the planetarium to watch the stars. They sat silently under the night sky, while Hua Li went to the bar to flirt with Tonggu, criticizing her husband behind his back. "You're my type, let's start something." Tonggu smiled and played along, planning his own moves. They exchanged contacts. Meanwhile, Xiao Jin returned from the planetarium, and fell into Ji Ping's arms in an emotional, seductive gesture, but Ji Ping gently pushed her away. "I can't betray Hua Li." Xiao Jin held back her tears and retreated to her room. That night, she received proof of Hua Li's betrayal from Tonggu. Her revenge fire ignited once again. She cut off her 20-year-long hair, staring into the mirror, whispering, "No more masks, the real battle begins now." She contacted Tonggu. "I'm ready, let's end her." The plan was simple. When Hua Li went on a date with Tonggu, they would bring Ji Ping along so he could witness everything with his own eyes. And when Hua Li's world shattered, Xiao Jin would draw her broken husband into her own orbit. The next day, Hua Li went on a date with Tonggu, but little did she know, her ex-rival, Xiao Jin, was already there, hidden, recording everything. When Xiao Jin saw Hua Li and Tonggu holding hands and showing close gestures, she immediately approached Hua Li and asked, "Why are you betraying your husband?" Hua Li panicked, quickly letting go of Tonggu's hand. "You're misunderstanding, we're just friends." But the moment she said that, Tonggu made an excuse and left, clearly avoiding getting trapped in the drama. Hua Li tried to stop him, but Xiao Jin intercepted her. Both walked along the riverbank. Xiao Jin took out 2 bottles of green tea, a symbolic gesture, hinting, "I understand everything." Hua Li first displayed her usual arrogance, pretending all was normal, but the moment Xiao Jin said, "I'll tell Ji Ping everything," Hua Li immediately panicked and began to cry, pleading, "Please, let this stay between us." Exactly the moment Xiao Jin had been waiting for. Calmly, she replied, "Okay, I'll keep it a secret, but you'll have to do one thing. You and Ji Ping will go on a camping trip with me." Forced, Hua Li reluctantly agreed, unaware that this trip was about to become a trap for her life. Tonggu, who had run away earlier, had actually stayed nearby. He went straight to Ji Ping and revealed the truth. "Your wife has been secretly needing someone." Ji Ping was shocked. Tonggu showed screenshots of their chats on his phone. All proof. Ji Ping collapsed in realization, sitting on a bench, staring blankly. Tonggu then said, "I'm not interested in Hua Li. I just want her to leave me alone." Then he suggested, "You both go on the camping trip. I'll pretend to be interested in Xiao Jin, so Hua Li will get jealous and stay away from me." Ji Ping agreed without thinking, unaware that the entire plan was actually Xiao Jin's doing. Next scene, 4 people arrive at a scenic camping site. Everyone is busy with their own activities, except Hua Li, standing like a spoiled princess. Ji Ping felt irritated but kept quiet. During the barbecue, Tonggu intentionally served grilled meat to Xiao Jin. Hua Li, seeing this, got jealous immediately. "Give me some too." Ji Ping observed everything, controlling his emotions, boiling inside, yet showing nothing. Xiao Jin watched carefully. She knew Ji Ping's biggest weakness was patience, and she was about to use it against him. Finally, Hua Li pretended to help. "I'll get some wood," but all the wood she brought was wet, impossible to light. Ji Ping sarcastically said, "Try dry wood next time." Hua Li's anger exploded. Xiao Jin stepped in, smoothing the situation, and skillfully carved the wet wood into flower shapes, then lit the fire. Ji Ping was impressed. Hua Li, furious, dumped her work on him and went to scroll her phone. Ji Ping disliked her even more. Then Xiao Jin quietly threw Hua Li's leftover wood into the river, making an excuse. "Firewood's finished, Ji Ping, let's get some more. Don't miss this." Everything was part of the plan. In the forest, Xiao Jin casually asked, "Do you trust Hua Li so much? What if she was with someone else?" Ji Ping got confused, thinking for a moment. Xiao Jin pretended to be hurt and walked inside. After a few seconds of hesitation, Ji Ping followed her. Exactly what Xiao Jin wanted. A private moment, a chance to create a place in his heart. Meanwhile at the campsite, Tonggu apologized to Hua Li for the running away incident the other day. Hua Li acted cold at first, but softened after a while, asking, "My back hurts, can you massage it?" Tonggu placed his hand on her hair from behind, and started speaking in a soft, intimate tone. High above the campsite, Xiao Jin and Ji Ping reached a vantage point, where they could see everything below. Hua Li and Tonggu were in a close pose. Ji Ping froze in shock. Xiao Jin signaled with her torch. Tonggu understood and immediately withdrew his hand, but Ji Ping's heart was already broken. Xiao Jin calmly said, "Maybe you're misunderstanding. Perhaps this is just a misunderstanding." Inside, she was elated. Another step of her plan had succeeded. Night had fallen. Xiao Jin intentionally dropped the torch's battery, pretending she had fallen. Ji Ping helped her up, seeing she seemed slightly hurt, and said, "Let's sit by the fire here and wait for help." They sat by the campfire. Ji Ping confessed, "I made a mistake leaving my ex-wife. Now it feels like the wrong decision." Xiao Jin subtly asked, "If you had the chance to go back, would you go to your ex-wife?" Ji Ping stayed silent. His silence was the answer. Irritated irritation flashed on Xiao Jin's face. The reflection of her old self, Xiao Kuei, appeared in her mind, telling her, "Calm down, control yourself." She restrained her emotions, then slowly approached Ji Ping. "Could you accept a woman like me?" Without waiting, she took his hand and kissed him on the lips. Ji Ping was shocked, but his resistance slowly melted. When he finally kissed her back, Xiao Jin secretly pulled out her phone and recorded everything. This was the moment she had been planning for so many days. Her perfect revenge footage was captured. Tonggu and Huali returned from the camp, and Huali, feigning concern, went to Ji Ping. But little did she know, Ji Ping's heart had already moved elsewhere. The alliance between Xiao Jin and Tonggu was now fully successful. Over the next few days, Xiao Jin and Ji Ping grew closer. She went on dates with him, and each time, his inner guilt and confusion grew. For Xiao Jin, it was a psychological game, her slow, intoxicating revenge. One evening, Ji Ping invited Huali to watch a meteor shower, but she coldly refused. "I'm not interested." Sad Ji Ping gave the invitation to Xiao Jin instead. She smiled and accepted. They sat on the grass field, watching shooting stars. A romantic silence enveloped them. Ji Ping kissed her. Xiao Jin softly said, "I know another place where shooting stars are even brighter. We'll have to go a little further." Ji Ping looked into her eyes and said, "I'll tell Huali the truth. After that, we'll be together, no secrets." Xiao Jin rested her head on his shoulder and smiled. Her revenge was almost complete. The next day, she told Tonggu, "Book a villa under Ji Ping's name. I'll take him there." Ji Ping lied to Huali, saying he was going on a business trip, and the next morning, he left with Xiao Jin, heading into a journey that was about to become hellish for him and perfect for her revenge. Ji Ping, taking paid leave from work to secretly spend time with his new love, Xiao Jin, tells his wife Huali a lie. "I'm going on a business trip." Little did he know, this trip was about to become the worst nightmare of his life. The two arrive at Shanli Prefecture by train. As they step out of the station, Ji Ping drops his fake gentleman act, placing his right hand directly on Xiao Jin's shoulder, as if she were his property. Seeing this cheap move, Xiao Jin feels instant disgust. She forces a smile and says, "I'm going to the restroom." As she walks a little away, she cleans the area with her hands, as if his touch had made the space dirty. Once in the restroom, she immediately calls Tonggu. The time has come. Start the plan. Standing atop the mountain, Xiao Jin pretends to take landscape photos with her phone, but in reality, she's sending a secret signal to Tonggu. Receiving the signal, Tonggu springs into action. He takes out a complaint letter, modifies it into a fake customer complaint, and sends it directly to Ji Ping's company. Chaos erupts at the office. Normally, Ji Ping handles these cases, but now he's on vacation. Tonggu deliberately escalates the pressure. "If this isn't resolved today, I'll expose it to the media." Helpless, Ji Ping's colleagues decide they have no choice but to call him. A female colleague says, "He's on leave, but let's try calling the home landline." Huali picks up the phone. The colleague casually asks, "I need to speak with Ji Ping. He's on a business trip, right?" Huali, surprised, responds, "Yes, he went out of town." Her face stiffens as she realizes Ji Ping has just told his biggest lie. Understanding the situation, she stays silent. After hanging up, she directly contacts Ji Ping on his mobile. Meanwhile, Ji Ping is taking selfies with Xiao Jin. Seeing the call, he steps away and answers with a fake professional tone. "Yes, what's the matter?" The colleague angrily says, "This complaint is urgent. You need to come back immediately." Ji Ping can't argue. Finally, he agrees. And all of this was part of Xiao Jin's plan. After hanging up, Ji Ping walks to Xiao Jin with a guilty expression, apologizing. She pretends to be upset, but inside, she ticks off another point on her revenge list. Back at the office, Ji Ping sees everyone giving him cold looks. Colleagues gossip. He lied to his wife and went on an affair, right? This isn't the first time. Ji Ping realizes everything has been exposed. The next day at the office, his boss calls him into the cabin. In a cold tone, he says, "You've damaged the company's reputation with your personal scandal. Now you have two options. Either accept demotion, a salary cut, and move to a sub-branch, or resign immediately." Ji Ping is in shock. The boss looks at him and says, "The decision is yours." In front of everyone, Ji Ping leaves the cabin with his head down, a broken man. When Huali finds out, she doesn't utter a single sympathetic word. In a sarcastic tone, she says, "See, this happens when a man loses his sense." But inside, another thought brews. Now if Ji Ping is transferred, I can openly meet Tonggu. On her face, fake sadness masks real happiness. She puts on a show for Ji Ping. "Don't worry, I'll manage the house. You just focus on your job." But Ji Ping sees through everything. Recalling Huali and Tonggu's connection, he yells in anger, "What's going on between you two?" They start arguing, and from a distance, Xiao Jin watches, her face showing a cold, satisfied smile. Mentally broken, Ji Ping is approached again by Xiao Jin, pretending to be concerned. She comes to him, and without saying a word, gives him a tight hug. Calmly, she says, "People are watching. Let's walk by the river." By the riverbank, they sit together, and Ji Ping shares his problem. "I feel like I should resign. I'll leave Huali and start fresh with you." Xiao Jin responds with a sharp smile. "No, I have a better plan. Accept the transfer. I'll move there too. You won't need to resign." nor file for divorce, and we'll stay together. Hearing this, Ji-ping becomes emotional and says, I'll do everything you say. The next morning, Ji-ping tells his boss he's ready to transfer to the sub-branch. Hua-li shows fake tears, but inside, she's delighted. As soon as Ji-ping leaves, she lies back on her bed, saying, finally, some peace. Meanwhile, Xiao Jin dramatically drops him at the station. Ji-ping hugs her. When I settle there, I'll come for you. They share a romantic kiss. Xiao Jin smiles and says, I'll wait. As the train departs, her smile fades. She wipes her lips with a tissue and says, now, his hell begins. Upon arriving at the sub-branch, Ji-ping is shocked. Insulting graffiti covers the office walls. Cheater, homewrecker, shame on you. Nearby villagers gossip and stare at him with disgust. This wasn't Hua-li, it was Xiao Jin. She anonymously spread Ji-ping's affair and scandals on local forums. His name is now ruined. No one speaks to him with respect. He spends the night cleaning office walls, and when he tries to call someone, he realizes Xiao Jin has blocked him everywhere. Phone, messages, social media, everything vanished. Xiao Jin quits her flower shop job too. Her mission, destroy Ji-ping, is complete. Her next target, Hua-li. She contacts Hua-li under the pretense of a friendly lunch. Pretending to be upset, she says, I think Ji-ping's colleagues are following me. That's why I had to quit and change my house. Please don't tell him, or it'll get worse. Naive Hua-li immediately believes her, taking every word as truth. Ji-ping's name, career, reputation, everything is destroyed. Everyone ignores him. He's completely alone, a broken man on an island of shame. At night, he stares at Xiao Jin's photos in his phone gallery, breathing in guilt and regret, living a shattered life. Meanwhile, Xiao Jin sits in her room, holding Ji-ping's photo tightly in her hands. She whispers, your revenge is complete, then slowly smiles, saying, but Hua-li, your turn hasn't come yet. A cold, devilish smile spreads across her face, followed by deep, echoing laughter. Back in school, Hua-li had befriended her best friend Xiao Kuei for one reason only. Xiao Kuei always scored higher than her. Hua-li was jealous, but she wore a mask of friendship, staying close just to find more opportunities to put her down. Even after graduation, Hua-li remained single, but one mission dominated her mind. I will only marry an elite man. One day, she went to Japan's top businessmen's club, searching for her next target, but none of the men she saw had the charm she desired. Just as she was about to leave, exhausted, she collided with a man tall, handsome, perfectly suited, high-earning, Ji-ping. Every box checked. Handsome, stable, decent. Exactly her dream husband checklist. Hua-li immediately struck up a conversation with a smile. Ji-ping initially reacted awkwardly to her flirty tone, but his eyes revealed a mix of guilt and temptation. Hua-li quickly realized he was simple, slightly weak, perfect to manipulate. But then her gaze caught the wedding ring on his finger. Her smile froze. In the next moment, she thought, married? So what? Backup can always be arranged. After a few meetings, Hua-li noticed Ji-ping was a perfect family man. Curious, she asked, feigning emotion, how is your wife? Can I see her? Ji-ping showed her a photo on his phone. Hua-li froze. The photo was Xiao Kuei, the same girl she had tormented since school. Anger, shock, and wounded ego exploded inside her. She married before me and beat me at life? Tapping her manicured nails on the table, she silently vowed, I will take everything from you, Xiao Kuei. Your husband, your peace, your life. Hua-li set her perfect trap, fake tears, sweet smiles, and emotional acting. Within days, Ji-ping fell into her snare. He left Xiao Kuei. Hua-li won, or at least believed she had. But after the honeymoon, she realized Ji-ping was actually boring. No romance, no excitement, just an obedient husband. One night at a bar, she met Tonggu, young, charming, bold. Within minutes, Tonggu captured her heart. Without thinking, Hua-li betrayed Ji-ping. She had no idea. All of this was actually part of Xiao Jin's revenge plan, the post-surgery Xiao Kuei. And now Hua-li had become Xiao Jin's next target. When Ji-ping transferred away, Xiao Jin slowly drew Hua-li into friendship. She became her shopping partner, gossip buddy. Xiao Jin knew Hua-li's greatest weakness, vanity, obsession with beauty and status. She set the plan. One day, she brought Hua-li to a bar where Tonggu was waiting. She gave a subtle signal, and Tonggu began acting. The bar's sales are down. Can you help me? We need info on the new bar across the street. Hua-li hesitated, but Xiao Jin confidently said, nothing will happen, come on, it'll be fun. And that stupidity was exactly what trapped Hua-li. Next evening, Xiao Jin waited at the bar in plain clothes. Hua-li entered, overdressed, glamorous. Xiao Jin intentionally overpraised. Wow, Hua-li, you look like an angel today. Inside, the higher she flies, the harder she'll fall. Inside the bar, two handsome men approached Hua-li. Compliments, flirtation, drinks, everything started. Soon, 3 more guys joined their table. Hua-li smiled all night, her arrogance growing with every attention. She spent so much on drinks and tips that by night's end, her wallet was empty. On the way home, she checked Xiao Jin's social media and saw her surrounded by admiring men. Her ego burned. Little did she know, all the fans were Tonggu's hired actors. The next morning, Hua-li began a shopping spree, buying dozens of dresses, shoes, and bags. I'll look better than Xiao Jin, she told herself repeatedly. That night, she went to another bar. When a group complimented her, she pulled out her credit card. "Tonight's on me." The next morning, the bill arrived. She was overdrawn, bankrupt, broken. Panicked, she called Ji Ping for money. He angrily said, "I'm struggling myself, and you're chasing luxury again?" He yelled at her and hung up. Desperate, Hua Li called Xiao Jin, but the phone gave a blocked tone. When Xiao Jin learned everything, she played the next card. She slipped a business card into Hua Li's letterbox, a fake, high-paying part-time job. Requirement: pretty, confident woman for companionship work. Hua Li thought, this could solve my financial problems. The next morning, she went to a park. A smart-looking man explained, the work is simple: dine and spend time with clients. Nothing wrong. Hua Li hesitated, but when she heard the pay, 10,000 yen per hour, her mind changed immediately. The agent arranged a client immediately. A handsome, classy man, Araki. Hua Li was stunned. Wow, he looks like a movie hero. After dinner, Araki handed her a red envelope. See you next time. Once he left, Hua Li opened it, 100,000 yen inside. She literally jumped. OMG, this is a goldmine. She called the agent. Please get me more clients. But she didn't know, the agent was fake, and client Araki was actually Tonggu's actor. The entire scheme was Xiao Jin's game, and Hua Li had become a puppet. Just as Xiao Jin was about to celebrate her victory, an anonymous letter appeared at her doorstep. It read, I know you are Xiao Kuwei. End this revenge here, or face the consequences. Someone who worries for you. Xiao Jin's face turned pale. Her heart raced. Who could it be? Only Tonggu and Xiao Jin knew the secret. Xiao Jin called Tonggu and showed him the letter. Tonggu was genuinely shocked. Then Xiao Jin revealed her plastic surgery secret and shared her full story, how Hua Li and Ji Ping had ruined her life. Tonggu said sorry softly, but he placed his hand on her shoulder. I don't blame you. I'm also a betrayed child. He then shared his painful past. As a child, he had seen his mother with another woman. She committed suicide in front of him. From that day, he hated every cheating couple. Hearing this, Xiao Jin's eyes welled up with tears. Between them, an emotional bond formed. Beyond revenge, a connection born of shared pain. Now, they decided, whoever sent this letter must be found. Tonggu repeatedly lured Hua Li out under different excuses, while secretly observing everything. But the mystery man was always one step ahead. No trace left. One day, as they returned to the bar, another threat letter awaited them at the entrance. Stop your investigation, or I will reveal your secret. To Ji Ping and Hua Li, someone had been tracking their every move. Meanwhile, Hua Li was on a shopping spree when she received a call from Ji Ping. I'll be transferring back to headquarters next week. Her shopping bag dropped. She immediately called Xiao Jin. Ji Ping is coming back. Xiao Jin nearly dropped her phone, her face pale with horror. She knew, if Ji Ping returned, the entire revenge plan would collapse, and they had no time left. Someone had been watching their every step, and now the rules of the game were about to change. Hua Li had now drowned in a sea of debt. Her credit card bills had crossed 500,000 yen, and collectors were hot on her trail. Desperate and slightly broken, she was forced to pawn her dignity. An online client had invited her for a dinner meetup, and Hua Li wore a maid outfit, the very uniform she once used to mock others in. But what she didn't know, this meeting was no coincidence. It was a perfect trap set by Xiao Jin. Ji Ping, he's coming back. Xiao Jin's face went stone cold. This was the biggest danger signal to her revenge plan. Number 1. Ji Ping's return meant he would inevitably search for Xiao Jin, the missing person in his eyes. No matter how much Hua Li promised, the truth would eventually spill. Number 2. Ji Ping did not control Hua Li's finances. If he froze her credit cards, Xiao Jin's debt-based revenge plan would collapse. Number 3. And on top of that, the mysterious letter sender, who knew all their moves. 3 daggers pressed at her neck simultaneously. For the first time, Xiao Jin considered retirement. Maybe I should just stop all this. But Tonggu grabbed her hand and said, every revenge has a final round, and this is ours. He pulled out a glass from behind the bar counter. An ancestor special cocktail, no spice no pay. A blend of different peppers, symbolizing pain and courage. Xiao Jin gulped the drink in one go, and fire reignited in her eyes. She placed both threat letters on the table, and began examining them like a microscope. Letter 1, cut and paste newspaper collage, flawless, untraceable. Letter 2, computer printout, full of mistakes. Clues, Hua Li's name was misspelled. Ji Ping's first name only was used, only a close person would do that. The letter writer used female pronouns. Conclusion, the mystery person is a woman, close to Ji Ping, but not very familiar with Hua Li. Meanwhile, Ji Ping arrived at headquarters, dusty, exhausted, so changed that his colleagues barely recognized him. They thought, is this the same charming guy? Now he looks completely broken. He checked his phone in the washroom, expecting a message from Xiao Jin, but it was from Hua Li. He slammed the phone onto the table. Meanwhile, Xiao Jin launched her next trick. She took Xiao Kuwei's name out of the letter, and used the rest to record a video message. Ji Ping, someone is threatening me, my life is in danger. Please save me. Tong-gu delivered the video to Ji Ping. Watching it, shock and guilt filled Ji Ping's eyes. All of this happened because of me. He decided, I will find her, no matter what. Tong-gu calmly said, I'll be the messenger, so no one gets hurt. Ji Ping agreed immediately. Everything was now perfect. Ji Ping's attention focused on the mystery woman. Xiao Jin continued Hua Li's debt trap. Tong-gu secretly monitored the letter sender. In a single move, 3 problems solved. Ji Ping wondered, which woman around me could know so much about my personal life? Mother, ex-wife Xiao Kui, Hua Li, and Xiao Jin all ruled out. Who was left? Office colleagues. Only 3 women were close contacts. Huashan Kai Kaizi, 50+, foodie, blunt. Jitian Chunjiang, shy, introverted. Mu Lai Kaixiang, stylish, party lover, gossip queen. Meanwhile, Hua Li was stressed. She complained to Xiao Jin. Ji Ping has completely changed. I cooked dinner, and he doesn't even look up. All he asks is, what is this 500,000 yen bill? Thankfully, Xiao Jin had prepared an excuse. Tell him you temporarily paid for a friend. Ji Ping half-heartedly accepted, but warned, if you waste money again, divorce. Frightened, Hua Li promised, friend will return the money in 2 days. Yet inside, she planned to resume the companion job. The next client meeting was in a park. After lunch, the man handed her 15,000 yen. Hua Li shocked, that's it? He grinned. 1 kiss, and I'll add 5,000 yen more. Hua Li's blood boiled. She snatched the money and stormed off, all secretly recorded by Xiao Jin. That night, Hua Li called the agent. I need rich clients like Araki. Within hours, a new client arrived. Carrying a suitcase, he headed straight to a hotel. Hua Li panicked. I'm not that kind of girl. The man calmly said, just dinner, relax. For the money, she agreed. After dinner, she gave 50,000 yen and said, more, then I'll follow the rules. She placed another 50,000 yen on the table and revealed a maid outfit. Hua Li was shocked, but thinking of her debt, she closed her eyes and complied. She had barely worn the costume when the man became greedy. Spend the night with me, 500,000 yen more. Hua Li consented, crying, but after a while, guilt overwhelmed her. She secretly grabbed 100,000 yen and ran. The hotel room door closed behind her, leaving silence in its place. Xiao Jin, waiting outside, thought Hua Li was happy inside, and calmly walked away. She had no idea Hua Li had returned home crying, holding crumpled notes in her hand. Looking in the mirror, she whispered, what have I become? The next day, Ji Ping came home. Hua Li fell to her knees and said, I was alone, you weren't there, I couldn't handle myself, that's why I made mistakes. She acted emotional, and Ji Ping's heart melted. I was wrong, I ignored you. Between her tears, a secret smile appeared. She had escaped another danger, yet Ji Ping's heart still beat for someone else, Xiao Jin. At the office, he began researching 3 women. Huashan Kai Kaizi, harmless foodie. Jitian Chunjiang, shy, blush-prone, innocent. Mu Lai Kaixiang, overspender, gossip queen, likely suspect. Ji Ping reported to Tong-gu, and Tong-gu delivered the info to Xiao Jin. All agreed, most likely culprit, Mu Lai Kaixiang. But then, a new threat letter arrived. You still haven't separated from Ji Ping? I'm angry. Tomorrow at 7 p.m., I will call you. If you haven't separated by then, I'll expose your secret. Xiao Jin decided. This time, I will catch her. She made a plan. As soon as the mystery caller calls, Ji Ping will call each suspect. Whoever doesn't pick up is the mystery person. Next evening, 7 p.m., the phone rang. Xiao Jin answered, distorted voice, just like the previous letters. Tong-gu gave a signal. Ji Ping called each suspect. Mu Lai Kaixiang picked up. Huashan Kai Kaizi in a meeting. Only one left. Jitian Chunjiang. She didn't pick up. Mystery solved. Xiao Jin confronted her immediately. Shockingly, she learned. Jitian Chunjiang had secretly loved Ji Ping all along. She was jealous of Hua Li, possessive of Ji Ping, and had interfered with their entire revenge plan. Xiao Jin's face showed disbelief. So, all this time, she was watching us? To completely destroy her cheating ex-husband Ji Ping, Xiao Jin, the surgically transformed ex-wife, set up another deadly trap. This time, the plan was simple. Seduce him, then expose his true face to the world. One evening, Xiao Jin invited Ji Ping to a cafe. She pretended to still be confused, maybe seeking closure. Ji Ping, secretly still infatuated, couldn't control himself. Their conversation turned romantic, and he kept moving closer. Then, a voice rang out. Ji Ping senpai? Both turned to see Jitian Chunjiang, the introverted colleague who had secretly had a crush on him all along. She froze in shock. Seeing her idol Ji Ping in that situation, her heart shattered. Ji Ping thought the incident would end there, but Xiao Jin was already one step ahead. She had attached a micro camera to a pen clip on her purse. The entire attempt to seduce/molest scene was recorded. She anonymously uploaded the video to the company's internal forum. By morning, the office exploded, everyone shocked. Ji Ping, the so-called gentleman, he did this? His reputation was destroyed in an instant. That evening, when Ji Ping reached home, he saw a board outside outside the gate. Grave of a scumbag. His blood ran cold. Walls and doors were covered in disgusting graffiti. He tried to clean it, but neighbors and villagers had already arrived, taking photos, videos, and uploading them online. From every angle, he had become a public shame. Inside the house, photos of his affairs were displayed. He screamed, tore them down, but what was done couldn't be undone. Phones rang constantly, unknown numbers, abuse, threats. Social media flooded with hate messages. He feared hidden cameras in the house. He searched everywhere, nothing found. A complete mental breakdown. This was not just Xiao Jin's work. It was a collaboration between her and Tian Chunjiang. A day earlier, Xiao Jin had confronted Chun Jiang. Initially, she denied everything, but when Xiao Jin presented voice changer evidence, she broke down. She revealed the truth. I always liked Ji Ping, but never had the courage to tell him. When Ji Ping got involved in the affair and got demoted, her heart ached. I worried for him, so I sent the threat letters to keep him away from your revenge. She explained how she uncovered the truth. She was searching for his ex-wife, Xiao Kuei. Checking janitorial records, she discovered Xiao Kuei had recently had plastic surgery. She cross-checked hospital lists and found Xiao Jin's address. Then she realized, you are the reborn ex-wife. That's why she sent the warning letters. Xiao Jin paused, then said, you sent the letters with good intentions, but you were only protecting the person who had destroyed everyone. She shared her tragic story, how Ji Ping and Hua Li had ruined her life. Tears welled in Chun Jiang's eyes, yet she said, I will tell him the truth. Xiao Jin immediately knelt, pleading, please, not now. I only need a little more time. My final target is Hua Li. After that, I will confess everything. Chun Jiang softened at her painful words, agreeing unknowingly becoming another pawn in Xiao Jin's game. Xiao Jin knew if she truly wanted Chun Jiang on her side, she had to reveal the real faces of Ji Ping and Hua Li. She called Hua Li and told Chun Jiang to sit at a corner table. Hua Li spoke confidently, Ji Ping is completely under my control. I just need a little drama, and he becomes my ATM. Chun Jiang's heart sank. Is this the woman Ji Ping left everything for? Her respect completely died. Now Xiao Jin played her last move. She called Ji Ping, let him flirt while she observed. Chun Jiang watched secretly through the hidden camera. Ji Ping couldn't control himself, attacking Xiao Jin like an animal. Chun Jiang ran away, shocked. Ji Ping felt guilty, saying to Xiao Jin, please convince her not to reveal this. I'll lose my job. Xiao Jin gave fake assurance, then went straight to Chun Jiang. She said, Ji Ping only cares about his career, not you. Chun Jiang's heart completely broke. I won't interfere with your revenge anymore. That man deserves his punishment. Now Xiao Jin's team was complete. Tonggu and Chun Jiang, both on her side. The next day, Xiao Jin released Ji Ping's assault video. Office chaos, media calls, senior suspension, reputation annihilated. Ji Ping was officially terminated. Hua Li, hearing the news, called Xiao Jin. I'm not scared for Ji Ping, I'm scared for my future. If his income stops, how will I survive? Xiao Jin's smile faded, and a darker idea was born. She pretended to have a rich boyfriend. CEO type, young, handsome, almost like a god. She described him in such detail that Hua Li burned with envy. Xiao Jin knew Hua Li's biggest weakness, jealousy and vanity. She bluntly said, catch a rich idiot too. Ji Ping is free now. Hua Li immediately agreed, while Tonggu set up a new stage in the background. The next day, Xiao Jin invited Hua Li to an exclusive party, saying, all the attendees earn millions of yen. Hua Li's eyes lit up. Upon entry, a handsome young man bumped into her. She was saved by Jin Chang, a perfect dramatic moment. Xiao Jin recognized him, CEO of a major Japanese tech company. Hua Li was instantly infatuated. Their conversation flowed, the chemistry fake but sparks felt real. Xiao Jin smiled from afar, thinking, this is my next master move. But she didn't yet know, Jin Chang, the angel she appeared to be, was actually the most infamous playboy in the industry, and would become the biggest twist on Xiao Jin's revenge road. Xiao Jin thought, a man who sees beautiful women as prey, he's the perfect trap for a vanity queen like Hua Li. And exactly that happened. At the party, only a few minutes into conversation, Hua Li was already in his arms. After the party, she came to Xiao Jin, bragging, who did you meet? My Jin Chang is a CEO, private jet included. Xiao Jin let out a cold laugh inwardly. She thought, the more pride she has, the more painful her fall will be. Fueled by comparison and jealousy, Hua Li issued a challenge. Let's do a couple date, you bring your boyfriend, I'll bring my CEO. Exactly according to Xiao Jin's plan. The problem, Xiao Jin didn't have a boyfriend. She considered Tonggu, but no, Tonggu already knew Hua Li, and had feelings for him. Xiao Jin didn't want an innocent person dragged into her game, so she decided to act alone. She hired a professional actor, Tiansen, and briefed him, you will be my fake rich boyfriend. She wrote a full guidebook, top 10 traits of elite complete airs. Voice, table manners, watch brands, car details, everything planned. Tian-sen was so impressed he said, "You're practically the director, I'm just the actor." During rehearsal for a photoshoot, Tonggu happened to appear. He saw Xiao Jin genuinely laughing for the first time, and his face immediately fell. He assumed Tian-sen was her new boyfriend. That night, he texted Xiao Jin, "Can we meet? Need to talk." They met on a corner bench at the park. Tonggu spoke seriously. "I don't see you as just a friend, but your revenge is my mission too. I'm with you, no matter how painful." He shared his story, how his father's affair drove his mother to suicide. "Since then, I hate cheaters." Tears welled in Xiao Jin's eyes, but she said, "I fight alone. You stay safe." Tonggu remained silent, then slowly walked away. Xiao Jin reached out but stopped. "I won't hurt anyone else." The big day arrived. Huali showed up in a dazzling dress. Tiansen carried the perfect young heir look. Huali scanned him up and down, thinking, "Just this? Compared to my CEO, this is middle class." Soon, Jin Changshu arrived in his luxury car. Flashlights, attention, ego. Huali's senses were on fire. Xiao Jin deliberately photographed Huali with Jin Chang, a souvenir of her doom. During dinner, Tiansen accidentally got sauce on his lip. Xiao Jin wiped it with a napkin, a perfect couple moment in front of Huali. Then she pulled out a limited edition bag. "Tiansen got this for me from Italy." Huali's face turned green, jealousy storm brewing. Jin Chang recognized the brand instantly, pretending admiration. "Nice choice." Huali burned inside. When the honeymoon topic came up, Huali froze. Her Ji-Ping marriage was never official, no wedding, no honeymoon. She excused herself to the bathroom. Xiao Jin signaled Jin Chang, "Follow her." Outside the bathroom, Jin Chang approached. Huali instantly went into flirt mode. "Let's go to a hotel, private talk." Jin Chang smiled. "Exactly what I wanted." Trap complete. After dinner, Xiao Jin paid Tiansen. He hesitated, then said, "I want to take you somewhere." He led her to his theater rehearsal room. Under the stage lights he said, "I'm not just playing your role. I think I like you." Xiao Jin remained silent. A small warmth stirred, but no room for feelings amidst revenge. Then Tiansen's phone rang, he turned pale. "The company made me the face of a global campaign. My face will be on posters everywhere." Xiao Jin panicked. "If Huali recognizes you, our plan is exposed." She checked the contracts, mostly foreign markets, risk minimal. She held Tiansen's hand. "Just one more week. Let me finish this plan." He agreed. That night, Huali called, excited. "Guess what?" Jin Chang proposed. "I'm officially elite now." Xiao Jin muttered under her breath. Or maybe your nightmare has just begun. Because Jin Chang was married, and Huali was his next temporary fling. Next morning, Huali complained. "He has a password on his phone, never lets me see. He's hiding something." Xiao Jin grew alert. If Huali discovered Jin Chang's married identity, her entire revenge structure would collapse. Quickly, she said, "Let's do one more double date. I'll prove he's telling the truth." The four-person date was set. Xiao Jin briefed Jin Chang to perform a romantic commitment act. During dinner, he said, "I'm serious. I'm dating for marriage." Huali breathed a sigh of relief, feeling elated inside. Xiao Jin thought, "Perfect. Trap is tight." But something unexpected happened. As everyone left, Jin Chang grabbed Xiao Jin's hand. "Actually, I like you." She was just for fun. Xiao Jin froze for a second. The game was turning against her. This isn't just Huali's hunter, it's a top-tier psychopath. She stepped back, putting on a fake smile and walked away, thinking she was still in control. Xiao Jin saw a poster banner crew on the street, and posters read, "Global Brand Ambassador, Tian Sr." Huali looked at the poster, asking, "That's your boyfriend, right?" Jin Chang lifted the poster, looking confused and suspicious. Tiansen froze, words failing him. Awkward silence fell over everyone. Xiao Jin realized, "My plan just entered the danger zone." The cheating husband was living his luxury life, a wine glass in one hand, his girlfriend in the other. But his wife? She stood at the edge of the balcony, ready to jump. And just as she leaned forward, a shadow flashed like lightning. Xiao Jin. She grabbed the woman's hand and pulled her back from death. When the woman finally collapsed to the floor, Xiao Jin froze, because her body was covered in marks, bruises, scars, and years of abuse. And the most shocking part? That woman was Jin Chengshu's wife, Ingzi. Yes, the same CEO playboy Xiao Jin had introduced to Huali. He wasn't just a cheater. He was a violent monster. When Ingzi told her story, Xiao Jin's heart shattered. "I was only his target for money. Once he got what he wanted, he changed. Beatings every day, constant cheating. I'm done living, now I only want revenge." Xiao Jin made up her mind immediately. This wasn't just Huali's downfall anymore. This was a double mission. To destroy both Huali and Jin Changshu together. It had started 2 months earlier. While scouting for Huali's cheating partner, Xiao Jin had met Jin Changshu. Despite being married, he had 3 or 4 ongoing affairs. And strangely, his wife Ingzi knew everything. yet stayed silent. Curious, Xiao Jin began following her, until one day she saw Ing Zi standing on a bridge, ready to jump. That moment changed everything. Xiao Jin saved her and promised, "Your pain will become my revenge." And from that day, the two women became allies. Together, they built their master plan. They leaked every piece of evidence, Jin Changshu's affairs, and the proof of his abuse, to a top magazine. Within days, the scandal exploded online. His company's stock crashed, and the board fired him as CEO. Enraged, he stormed home and raised his hand again. But this time, Ing Zi didn't back down. She threw the evidence in his face and shouted, "Touch me again, and I'll send this to the police and the press." Then she dropped the divorce papers on the table. For the first time, defeat showed on his face. Xiao Jin's phone buzzed. Mission complete. She smiled just as Hua Li showed up, holding a newspaper with the headline, "CEO Jin Changshu caught in abuse scandal." But Hua Li wasn't guilty, just arrogant. "You introduced me to him. This isn't all my fault." Xiao Jin smiled, because Hua Li had finally walked into the final trap. Xiao Jin pretended to be concerned. "You should divorce him now, or the paparazzi will ruin your image too." Hua Li panicked. "Even if I divorce him, the married label will stay forever." Xiao Jin gave a cunning smile. "Simple, transfer your household record to the media, you'll look single again. Once things calm down, you can always win him back emotionally." Hua Li's eyes gleamed with greed. Perfect idea. That very night, she went to the civil office and filed for divorce. While filling out the forms, Hua Li said casually, "You're so smart. You remind me of a girl from my school. Ugly but a genius. I used to bully her. I just didn't like her face." Xiao Jin's heart skipped a beat. She thought, that girl was me. Rage boiled behind her calm smile. "Karma's coming for you, Hua Li." As Hua Li submitted her papers, Xiao Jin's hired paparazzi were already waiting outside. The moment Hua Li walked out, flashes went off. "Miss Hua Li, why the sudden divorce?" Xiao Jin ran to her side, pretending to protect her, and quickly drove her away. That night, Hua Li completely broke down. "It's all over. My image, my status, everything is gone." Xiao Jin gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Stay low for a while. Go somewhere safe." Panicking, Hua Li called her father, but he hung up immediately. He had already received the affair photos that Xiao Jin secretly sent him. "You're dead to me," he yelled. The ground slipped from beneath Hua Li's feet. The next day, she told Xiao Jin, "I'll rent an apartment. I just need to hide for a while." Xiao Jin said calmly, "Pick something cheap. Things are tight right now." But Hua Li's pride spoke louder. "I'm not some ordinary woman. I only live in luxury." So she rented a 200,000 yen per month penthouse, exactly as Xiao Jin wanted. The debt snowball was rolling bigger and faster. Meanwhile, Jin Changshu sat in the ruins of his empire. Legal notices from his ex-wife came every day. At first, he thought Ing Zi was behind everything, but then realized, she's too soft. This isn't her doing. He ordered his secretary, "Find out who's been manipulating my wife and Hua Li." Days later, the report arrived. His ex-wife was clean, but Hua Li was always seen with one person, Xiao Jin. The secretary added, "Sir, Xiao Jin is also the one who introduced you to Hua Li." And that's when it all clicked. So this was her plan all along. He picked up the phone and called Hua Li. "I know who destroyed us. Meet me tonight, I'll tell you everything." Torn between guilt and fear, Hua Li agreed. But what she didn't know was, this time, the prey wouldn't be her. It would be Xiao Jin herself. One evening, one more deal. Hua Li, a married woman, agreed to sell her dignity for just 1 million yen. Sitting across from her was a greasy 50-year-old man, slicked hair, stained teeth, and a sleazy grin that made her skin crawl. At first, Hua Li tried to say no, but when the talk turned to money, she closed her eyes. That night, her dignity was sold, and along with the guilt came a brand new addiction. Pleased with her performance, the old man handed her an extra 50,000 yen as a tip. That unexpected money went straight to Hua Li's head. She hugged him tightly and whispered, "Next time you call me, I'll be ready." The man smiled smugly, and Hua Li thought maybe things are finally turning around. But hiding in the corner, Xiao Jin watched with a cold smirk. "Welcome to your own hell, Hua Li." In the previous episode, Jin Changshu had finally discovered that the person behind his downfall was none other than Xiao Jin herself. He went straight to Hua Li, armed with evidence, but blinded by misplaced trust, Hua Li yelled, "Xiao Jin could never do that. She's my best friend." She glared at Jin Changshu and shouted, "End this topic right now. Don't you dare doubt my friend." Jin Changshu fell silent, but deep inside, the seed of revenge had already been planted. A few days later, his secretary came in with a shocking report. "Sir, Hua Li's husband, Ji Ping, left his first wife to marry her. And guess what? His first wife's last name was also Xiao." Jin Changshu's eyes flashed with lightning. "So, Xiao Jin is Ji Ping's ex-wife?" Meanwhile, Hua Li was drowning in luxury. Expensive furniture, designer decor, spa treatments, she bought everything. But when the bills arrived, she panicked. So she ran back to Xiao Jin. "Please, can you help me find a high-paying part-time job?" Xiao Jin gave her a sly smile. "Of course, I have the perfect job for you." Handing out flyers. The next morning, Hua Li put on her fancy heels and started handing out leaflets on the street. People stared, whispered, laughed. One man even shoved her. She fell hard on the ground. "I'm not some ordinary woman," she screamed. And she quit right there, exactly as Xiao Jin had planned. Desperate for money money and stripped of dignity. Hua Li called her old escort agency contact, but the boss said coldly, because of your bad reputation, no clients want you anymore. That line too had been written by Xiao Jin herself. Now Hua Li was completely alone. Eventually, she started searching online for rental girlfriend gigs and ended up getting booked by the same type of old man again. That was the same deal we saw at the beginning of this episode. Then came another bombshell. Ji Ping's parents sent her a legal notice. They demanded 20 million yen in compensation and ordered her to leave the house immediately. Terrified, Hua Li ran once more to Xiao Jin. Please, save me. Xiao Jin lowered her eyes. Only a lawyer can help you now. But Hua Li couldn't afford one. To protect what was left of her pride, she accepted another job from the same disgusting client. After that came another tip, and that was when Hua Li's fall became complete. While Xiao Jin was quietly enjoying her victory, someone knocked on her door. It was Jin Changshu, and he placed a photo comparison file on the table. Before surgery, after surgery, voice forensics and AI scans confirmed it. Xiao Jin equals Ji Ping's ex-wife, Xiao Kuei. Xiao Jin's face went pale. Jin Changshu smirked and said, 3 conditions if you want to stay safe. Number 1, apologize to me publicly in front of the media. Number 2, pay me 5 million yen. Number 3, and spend 1 night with me. 1 week. You have 1 week. Xiao Jin stayed calm. Fine, give me 3 weeks to arrange the money. Jin Changshu laughed. Trying to stall me, huh? You've got 1 week. Otherwise, you and your little friend Ing Zi, you'll both regret it. But someone else had overheard everything. His secretary. He immediately called Ing Zi. Your ex is plotting something against you. Ing Zi, alarmed, went straight to Tonggu, the bar owner. Tonggu pretended to hate Xiao Jin too, and invited Jin Changshu to meet him at the bar. I want revenge on her too. Let's work together. At first, Jin Changshu hesitated, but when he heard that Xiao Jin had hurt Tonggu's business, he agreed. A few drinks later, in his arrogance, he confessed everything. I'm gonna make her pay. With a public apology, money, and a night with me. Tonggu calmly picked up his phone. Recording was on. Cancel the plan, or I'll send this audio to your new company. Jin Changshu scoffed. A recording doesn't prove anything. Tonggu smirked. Maybe not, but I'm sure your new employer, the world's top 500 firm, will love to hear it. Jin Changshu's face turned white. Stop. I withdraw. Tonggu's eyes glimmered with triumph. The next morning, Xiao Jin met Tonggu. He told her everything, then gently held her hand. Let's end this together. But Xiao Jin pulled away. You have a kind heart, but my mission isn't over yet. And she walked away. That evening, Hua Li sat at a fancy cafe across from Xiao Jin. Xiao Jin calmly reached into her purse and took out an envelope. A gift for you. Hua Li opened it. Inside were photos of Xiao Jin and Ji Ping together. Her face went white. What is this? You're with my husband? Xiao Jin looked her straight in the eyes. I am that woman. Ji Ping's ex-wife, Xiao Kuei. The one you stole him from. Hua Li froze in disbelief. You're lying. Xiao Jin smiled faintly. Then check tomorrow's newspaper. My new novel comes out, The Woman Who Stole My Life. It tells the story of how Hua Li bullied her classmate, stole her husband, and was betrayed by that very same man. It's confirmed. Digital release at midnight. In bookstores by 9 a.m. She stood up and walked away. The envelope slipped from Hua Li's hands, and the photo that fell to the floor became the final mirror of her ruined life. She sold her body for the first time and earned 10 million yen plus a 50,000 yen tip. The client, a middle-aged businessman with a greedy grin, said proudly, I've never had service like yours before. A faint spark of joy lit up Hua Li's face. For a moment, she thought maybe life was getting back on track. But the second time, everything changed. The new client tossed only 200,000 yen at her, then said with disgust, you looked prettier in the photos. In real life, you're nothing special. Hua Li froze. She stumbled into the bathroom, stood in front of the mirror, and what she saw almost made her scream. That woman staring back. She didn't know her anymore. Once, she had been the queen of her college campus. Flawless skin, fair as porcelain, hair that shimmered like silk. But now, dark spots, wrinkles, clumps of hair falling like withered petals. She tried hiding it under layers of makeup, but the more she covered, the worse it looked. What have I become? Her knees gave way beneath her. Right there, under the flickering fluorescent light, she broke down completely. That was the real price of her sins. The cost of the crime she committed years ago, when she stole Xiao Jin's husband. Now, Xiao Jin's revenge plan had reached its endgame. She revealed her true identity in front of Hua Li and said coldly, I've already written it all down. At midnight tonight, my book will be released. The title, The Woman Who Stole My Life. The cover showed 2 faces, one of pre-surgery Xiao Jin, and one of the reborn Xiao Jin after her transformation. It was priced at 1,760 yen, about 85 yuan, because she wanted everyone in Japan to read it. And it worked. Within a single night, the book went viral. Across the country, news channels, blogs, live streams, everyone was talking about one name, the ex-wife who took revenge. People sympathized deeply with Xiao Jin. Everyone except one man, Jin Changshu. His name was in the book too, branded as the woman beater CEO. Now the entire nation was spitting venom at him. Lying in his hospital bed, Ji Ping read the book too. At first, he thought, this This story sounds familiar, but the moment he turned the page and saw the old photos, he froze. Xiao Jin, she was my Xiao Kuwei. In horror, he ripped the pages out, shoving them into his mouth, chewing, swallowing, as if he could erase the truth. The nurses rushed in and restrained him. Moments later, he was transferred to the psychiatric ward. But Hua Li's downfall had only just begun. The internet was merciless. Gossip bloggers, live streamers, news reporters, they all gathered outside her building, broadcasting her shame 24/7. Look, Hua Li, the failed escort mistress. Whenever she stepped outside, people spat at her. Her designer heels split open on the pavement. Desperate, she called her father. But the moment he heard her voice, he shouted, "You are no daughter of mine. Clean up your own filth." The call disconnected, and from Hua Li's left eye, a single tear rolled down. Doctors say, when someone cries from only one eye, it's a sign of total emotional collapse. Prolong it, and it can even trigger early menopause. Hua Li thought, maybe I'll stay at a 5-star hotel just for one night. But when she swiped her card, declined. Her bank account had been frozen. Xiao Jin had filed a fake court order under Ji Ping's parents' names to make it happen. Panic-stricken, Hua Li called her sugar daddies one by one. The first said, "Sorry, my wife's been watching me closely. I can't contact you anymore." The second, third, sixth, all blocked her. That night, Hua Li slept in an internet cafe, surrounded by strangers, the stench of cigarettes, and the rotten smell of her own misery. The next morning, she took her luxury handbags to a pawn shop. One of them, the bag Ji Ping had given her, worth 4 million yen, was sold for barely 400,000. As the transaction went through, her phone rang. "This is Ji Ping's parents' lawyer. The court has ruled. You must pay back 2 million yen immediately." The 40,000 she had just received? Gone. Broke again. She returned to that dark internet cafe. Her eyes were sunken, her face pale. Then, with trembling hands, she opened a dating app, relisted her services, and within hours, another client appeared. But this one tossed only 200,000 yen at her, and sneered, "You look much older in person." That was the last straw. Something inside her snapped. She ran to a beauty clinic, shouting, "I want my old face back. I'll pay anything." But before the appointment could begin, her phone started vibrating. A notification popped up. Xiao Jin live now. The entire country was watching. The chat was exploding. That's Hua Li, the mistress. She ruined her own life. Furious, Hua Li created a fake account, username 3A, and commented, "I know Hua Li. She never bullied anyone. This is all lies." A few people began to doubt the story. Maybe Xiao Jin exaggerated? But Xiao Jin was ready. She smiled into the camera and said, "Then let's show some proof." She opened a suitcase on stream, filled with old-school photos, letters, voice recordings, and evidence of Hua Li's affairs. The chat exploded. "It's all true. She's a monster." And then Xiao Jin noticed something. The user 3A kept typing her real name. Details only someone close would know. "This person knows me." She sent a live video invite to 3A. The audience spammed the chat. "Accept it. Prove you're real." Panic gripped Hua Li, but her pride pushed her forward. She accepted. The video connected. For a second, the entire country went silent. Then an explosion of comments. "It's her, the real Hua Li. She admitted everything." Xiao Jin smiled coldly. "Let's meet tomorrow, face to face, and end this, once and for all." As soon as the live stream ended, a shadow crossed Hua Li's face. "Face to face. Fine, Xiao Jin. Then it'll really be the last time you see me." She contacted a black market trafficker. A deep voice answered, "Send your ID first, then tell me who the target is." She snapped a photo of her ID, then sent Xiao Jin's picture, with a single heart emoji. "Make sure she disappears forever." The screen faded to black. In the last episode, Hua Li made her final move. A plan to erase her old enemy, Xiao Jin, from the face of the earth. This time, she didn't use poison. She used a man. On the night of her terrifying revenge, Hua Li seduced a human trafficker. Sitting across from him with a sly smile, she whispered, "Help me, and I'll give you a deal you'll never forget." The next morning, when Xiao Jin arrived at a restaurant, a black SUV screeched to a halt beside her. The door flew open, and within seconds, her mouth was gagged, her hands tied. Inside sat Sang Biao, the trafficker, and beside him, smiling coldly, was Hua Li. Surprise? Remember me? The car stopped at an old, abandoned warehouse. Hua Li caught her reflection in a cracked mirror, and every drop of venom inside her came spilling out. A sharp slap landed across Xiao Jin's face. "You made me this. You built my life just to destroy it." Then came a brutal kick. Sang Biao tried to intervene. "Hey, lady, don't hit her, she's too pretty. I can sell her for more like this." Hua Li hissed back, "I'm selling her to the Middle East, but first, she'll go live and clear my name." Xiao Jin smiled faintly. "I have a better idea." Copper Heart Tong Gu found Xiao Jin's pre-recorded message. "If I'm not back by 7 p.m., it means I've vanished. Meeting you was the best thing that ever happened to me." Hearing that, Tonggu's heart shattered. He grabbed his coat and took off into the rain, running like a Japanese drama hero, using the last of his strength for one purpose, to save Xiao Jin. Inside the warehouse, Xiao Jin said softly, "Fine, I'll start the live stream. Just hand me your phone." Foolish Hua Li agreed. As she leaned forward, she noticed a knife in Xiao Jin's bag, planted there on purpose. surface, thinking Xiao Jin was about to attack her. Hua Li lost control again. I won't let you live. She grabbed the knife, but Sang Biao stepped between them. Don't be crazy. She's my merchandise. They struggled. In one split-second twist, the blade turned and sank deep into Sang Biao's stomach. His body hit the floor, dead. Hua Li didn't even flinch. This is all your fault. At that moment, Xiao Jin's darker self, Xiao Kuei, surfaced again. What's wrong? Still dreaming of winning? Hua Li screamed and lunged forward with the knife. And right then, Tonggu burst through the door. The blade stabbed straight into his chest. Xiao Jin cried out, Tonggu! He collapsed in her arms, blood spreading across the floor. How did you find me? Tonggu smiled weakly. That locket you thought was a protective charm had a GPS inside. Then he went silent. Police sirens echoed outside. Xiao Jin held Tonggu's hand as paramedics rushed in. In the corner, Hua Li sat sobbing. But it was too late. She was charged with murder and illegal detention. The rest of her life would be spent in darkness. Months later, Tonggu recovered. Together, they opened a small bar. Locals called it Clover Bar. From above, the roof looked like a four-leaf clover, a symbol of luck after pain. One evening, Xiao Jin saw a little girl trip outside the bar. For a second, her mind flashed back to her own childhood, the bullying, the tears. She knelt down, took the girl's hand, and said gently, "Don't be afraid. If anyone ever hurts you, speak up. Silence is the worst mistake." She gave the girl a tiny four-leaf clover. It became a symbol of rebirth through pain. Later that night, Xiao Jin pulled out an old torn photo of Ji Ping and Hua Li and tossed it into the fire. As it burned, she smiled quietly. Tonggu walked over and said, "You won." Xiao Jin shook her head. "No, I just learned how to heal." They looked into each other's eyes and shared their first kiss. Soft music, gentle fade out. This wasn't just a story about revenge. It was about a woman rediscovering herself. She changed her face, but in the end, she saved her heart. If you believe in karma, you know, sometimes revenge isn't punishment, it's redemption.